So welcome to our final fun competition of the summer, and many thanks to everyone who's contributed pictures to the various competitions and challenges over the summer. And just to remind you that any pictures entered into these competitions are still eligible to be entered into future competitions when our season kicks off proper in September. But thank you all for entering and joining in. So now for our final competition, it's the three themes which were in the garden, the letter M and the colour red. And I'd like to introduce our three judges, two of whom are past presidents and our current president. In the garden is going to be judged by Dave Venables, so thanks very much for stepping in, Dave. The letter M was by Mick Schilling, and the colour red is going to be judged by Jane Roby. So we're going to make a start in the garden, and we have 18 images, and I'm just going to give you a 2-second preview of those images before we hear the judges' appraisals. There are 18 pictures in this category, so we'll just run through a quick 2-second review of them all so you can have a preview. So here's all 18 pictures. Okay, so I'm going to show you them now, and over to Dave to give his feedback. Begonia blue.
Yeah, begonia. What a lovely picture. It's got some nice, soft and pleasant tones. There's plenty of detail. The vignetting suits the subject. It's only just a shame that you've gone a little bit close and you've cropped off the top and bottom of the petals. But apart from that, it really is a nice image, my type of picture. So I'm going to keep that one back to look at again.
Okay, we'll hold that one back. Next, we have garden spider.
Yes, this picture, it suits the subject well. It's a sort of thing that you'll find in the garden. There's quite a lot of them about. It has good detail. I just find that the highlights in the centre of the insect a little bit on the bright side, and I think I would have toned them down slightly just to stop them becoming a thing that the eye keeps moving to. So I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. Next up, we have the greater spotted woodpecker.
Yeah, the great spotted woodpecker. I do like this one. It's got plenty of detail in the bird. It's got some lovely colours. It shows that it's in the garden because you've got the feeder there, and the added interest is the rain that's coming down around the bird. And I do like this one quite nicely. So yeah, I'll pick that one as well. I'll have another look at that one.
Okay, we'll keep that one back. In Minturn Garden.
Yeah, it's a nice one. It fits the criteria of gardens quite nicely. It's a beautiful gardenscape, that I would call it. But I feel that the picture's in two halves, with the pond or the stream splitting the picture into two pictures, because the brightness of the water in the foreground is a little bit overdone. I think if I'd have been doing this, I'd have toned that down slightly. So I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. This one is House Gardens, Devon.
Yeah, again, this one, it fits the garden theme. It's got a nice lead with a path, but I feel that the left-hand side is a little bit on the dark side for my liking. And also, I think I would have done a little bit of work on it, and I got rid of the telegraph wires. I think they're telegraph wires that I can see on the left-hand side of the picture. So we'll pass on that one.
Next up, we have feeding time.
Yeah, another nice image. I quite like this one with the starlings feeding, particularly with the baby with its mouth open. I do like that. You've done well to capture the one bird in flight, but I do find that the fourth bird, the one with its back to us, is not really necessary to the picture, and I would have cropped that one out, which gives the other three a nice triangular composition, which works better. So I'm gonna leave that one.
Okay, pass on that one. Blue tit.
Yeah, the blue tit's a nice little bird, lovely colours. You've got some nice detail in the bird itself. Everything's sharp where it needs to be, and I like the background. It's in soft focus. I would have cropped this to a square format to get rid of the green, bright area on the right-hand side. So for that reason, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave that one. So we'll pass on that one.
Okay, pass on that one. In the Annick Garden.
Yep, nice motto with a good lead through the garden by the path. It would be nice to have had someone sitting on the bench at the end of it. And I personally would have toned down the very bright white area of the path at the end there. I think that keeps drawing my eye, and it's a bit of an eyesore, I'm afraid. So I'll have to pass on that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. In Montpellier Gardens.
Yeah, just a very colourful image, nicely presented as a panorama. Shows people enjoying the picnic in the gardens. Some lovely colours to it. Again, it's a shame that you've done it panorama as such, because you cut the top of the tree off on the left and you cut a little bit of the gardens up on the bottom right. So we'll pass on that one as well.
Okay. This one is potty about the garden.
Yeah, this one again, it suits the garden theme. It's a picture full of interest and colour, loads to look at, and it's obviously somebody's pride and joy. They thought it would do well in the competition. I think the sky is a little bit on the bright side, so I think I'm going to have to pass by on that one as well.
Okay. Next up we have Wild Garden Patch.
Yeah, this one is. I'm finding this one a little bit strange. I'm not sure what's happened on the stem, but it looks as if it's been tried to be selected and hasn't quite worked. Maybe the author will tell me afterwards it hasn't been selected, but it just looked like it to me. And I think also that I would have got rid of the two white spots bottom right. They draw the eye all the time. So for that reason, I'm going to pass by on that one as well.
Okay, pass on that one. Hoverfly.
Yeah, I do like this one. Once again, I would have made a square format. The details of the hoverfly are superb, really sharp, as is the yellow of the flower. But, I think if you'd have made a square format, you would have had the stem coming a little bit more over to the left into the left-hand corner, and I think that works well. So I'm going to hold on to that one, please.
Okay, I'll hold that one back. Yellow Rose.
Yeah, another beautiful close-up image. I personally would have gone in closer to get the details of the centre on a third, and I can also live with the soft focus of the rest of the petals. I do like this one, so I'm going to hold that one back as well.
Okay, hold that one back. Dahlia Jescott Gold.
Yeah, beautiful image of this dahlia with so much detail enhanced by the water droplets. I can't say much more about this. It's just a lovely picture. So unfortunately, I'm not holding it. I think I've got some better pictures.
Okay, pass on that one. Cosmos in the garden.
Yeah, this has got a nice composition with a nice little group on the right and a little group on the left. The colours of the flowers are just as they should be, and the greens, which usually the greens tend to take over pictures like this, are quite subdued and not over bright. So that's a nice picture, but unfortunately again, I'm going to have to leave it.
Okay, pass on that one. Garden Armoury.
Yeah, this is a beautiful little macro shot. Plenty of detail in the fly. Would have been nice to see some of the background detail rather than just a black and a white spot in the middle. Excuse me. Can't say much more about it. Just a nice macro. It works well, but unfortunately, we're going to leave that one as well.
Okay, pass on that. Beach garden.
Yeah, somebody's tried to do something different. It's not actually a garden, is it? It's a rock face overlooking the sea. But you isolated the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main flowers against the sea, and the rocks are nice sharp in the foreground. This is another one that I'm going to have to pass by.
Pass on that one. And then the final image in this section is Sarah Raven Dahlia.
Yeah, beautiful colours and detail in this, with the little touches of gold in the centre of interest of the flower. Perhaps you could have included the stem. It would have not looked as if it was floating on air. But the quality is first class, and I do like it. There's no bright highlights, so I'm going to keep that one back as well.
Hold that one back. Okay, so you've held back 5, I think. Let's just have a look. Held back 5, and I'll show them to you now in the light box, so you can see all of them together, and you can allocate your awards. Okay,
the first one I'm going to select is commended, which is number 1, the begonia.
Commended begonia. That's by Mick O'Malley.
Number 13, highly commended, the yellow rose.
Highly commended, that's by Aileen Knock.
Third place, number 12, the hoverfly.
Third place is the hoverfly by somebody called Phil Morehouse.
Second place, Sarah Raven Dahlia.
Okay, second place is the Dahlia. That was by Jolanta.
And the first place is the greater spotted woodpecker. I do like this, there's some wonderful detail in it.
The greater spotted woodpecker by Jane Roby. So I'll just run through the results. I'll give the top 5. And we'll show, oh, that's in the light box, so I want to show them full screen. So commended was Begonia Bloom by Mick O'Malley. Highly commended, Yellow Rose by Aileen Knock. In third place, Hoverfly by Phil. Second place was Sarah Raven Dahlia by Jolanta. And in first place, congratulations to Jane Roby with the greater spotted woodpecker. Congratulations, Jane. The next category is the letter N, judged by our current president, Mick Schilling. I'll show you all of the pictures in a continuous loop for 2 seconds first. So we just have a quick run through so you can see all of the pictures together. Okay, so we've seen all 19, and we'll run through the competition now. Over to you, Mick.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
First one up is M is for mute.
Okie dokie. Well, the mute swan, and as you may remember from some of my images, one of my favourite subjects. I do like them in an image. They're very photogenic. I think this one needs a little bit more detail around the head. I understand the high key intention, I think, from the author, but I think it's a wee bit overdone here. We lose the definition at the end of the beak and around the top of the head and the back of the neck. I'd just like to see a little bit more detail there. It's well composed, but because of those issues, I'll have to pass on it, I'm afraid.
Okay. My mesembryanthemum.
Mesembryanthemum.
Yep.
Yeah, lovely diurnal flowers. They open up in the sunlight, and with that in mind, they're very good for time-lapse purposes. But that as a side, this is a nicely symmetrical image. The flowers nice and sharp. You can see all the detail there in the petals. Perhaps the centre could do with lightening up a wee bit just to improve the detail there. And perhaps a strongish dark vignette around the outside to sort of take away some of the background might improve it, but I'll see this one again, please, Phil.
Okay, keep that one back. Moonlight.
Moonlight, yes, great title for the competition theme. Nice play on words and a clever bit of photoshopping. I do like the glow around it, which accentuates the impression that it's a light bulb and that it is glowing, which has been created, which is fantastic. I'm not 100% convinced, if you like, of the way it stretches into the fitting at the bottom, and I do think there are some stronger images here, so I'm going to have to pass on this one, I'm afraid.
Okay. Mountain Pass.
Yeah, nice landscape. I particularly like the foreground detail here. The depth of field is excellent. The narrow aperture has been used to good effect here. So we've got sharpness all the way through the image from front to back. I like the way the valley leads us sort of across the image and away from right to left. Some of the highlights perhaps on the top of the mountain and in the sky are a little bit bright. And the dark areas in the sky, which I assume are blue areas, and perhaps a wee bit dark. But I'll hold this one back, please, for another look.
Okay. Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, classic shot of the classic location. Not that I've been there myself. It's nicely composed, nicely set up. There's some detail in the sky, which is great. It is a little bit flat in tone. I think maybe some playing with luminance in post-production could brighten this up a wee bit. I know you can't help the conditions on the day that it was taken, but there is a chance to fiddle with things afterwards. And I perhaps wanted to see a bit more of the trees at the bottom, especially on the left-hand side. We can just see the tops of them, and I feel that it might be better if we could see the bottom of those trees just to balance it out. But I'll have to pass. There are better images, I'm afraid, so we'll have to move on.
Mirror reflection.
Yeah, great idea. It's reassuring to know that the author pulled over into a lay-by to take this one, so they didn't put themselves or anyone else in danger whilst taking the image. Light across the left-hand side is a wee bit harsh. I like the diagonal orientation of the road, and the placement of the mirror at the side looking back is great. I'd have perhaps used a narrower aperture. I think the depth of field here is neither one nor the other. We could either have the background blurred more or sharper. I think being slightly blurred, it kind of isn't one thing or the other. Maybe if it was cropped down tighter into the mirror, maybe as a sort of a letterbox effect across the image, perhaps it might work a wee bit better. But again, I'll have to pass on this one.
Okay. M for a P.
Yeah, good take on the theme. Obviously, we've got the letter M here denoting the male welfare facilities, I would presume. I think, now whether it's a puddle down in the left-hand corner, if it was a puddle, then it could have been perhaps used to get a reflection shot, which might have given it an added tilt. Another thing that is distracting for me is the half person symbol sort of in that alcove around the side. Maybe that could have been cloned out with by stretching the door and the door frame in that alcove across, or maybe cropping it tighter or something. I like the angular nature of the image, but again, there are better images, so I'm going to have to pass on this one, I'm afraid.
Okay. My motor scooter mod period.
Yeah, well composed, nicely exposed picture of this vintage period scooter. I guess it's a fairly old one, looking at the arranged, well, definitely by looking at the registration plate. It's getting on a bit. Again, it's a little bit flat in tone. I think it could be brightened up a wee bit, and you can see by the shadow that it was taken in strong light, because there's a crisp shadow there on the pavement, but it's still a wee bit flat in tone, so perhaps it could be brightened up. And also the machine itself's great, but perhaps it warrants a more interesting location than just at the side of the road by the pavement with the hedge. I like the orientation with the diagonal. But again, I'll have to leave this one, I'm afraid.
Okay. And next we have the Man of Morocco.
Okay, clearly a holiday shot from Morocco. I can't help thinking with this one, I want to see more of where he's going and perhaps what he's looking at. It's a very narrow portrait crop. There's a tiny slither of something bright on the very, very sort of far left towards the bottom above the wooden arrangement, which isn't necessary there. That could easily be cloned out. But I think the crop's a little bit too tight, and it doesn't really tell us anything about what he's doing or where he's going. And because of that, I'm afraid I'll have to move on.
Okay. M squared.
Okay, this is a very me image. I like sort of architectural, sort of engineering, symmetry, straight lines, curves, things that fit into the image. It's like a sort of structural arrangement, and this has got a clear M symbol in the middle. I like the tonality. It's a really good mono conversion. We've got black to white with nothing blown out, nothing too dark. Everything's sharp. I think it's taken with a fairly wide angle because of the perspective, which we've kind of gained. We're quite close to this arrangement, but with a wide angle, perspective is different within each of those alcoves within those arches. So you can get a different angle from different sides, which I think adds to it. Very well done. Because of that, if it was with a wide angle lens, you can lose the edges, the edge sharpness, and that's been maintained. It's sharp corner to corner, which is fantastic. So I'll see this one again, please, Phil.
Okay, hold that one back. Mud.
Yeah, I guess it's some volcanic mud location. Really interesting, different sort of bubble sort of stages shown here. You've got some that have just about burst, some that have clearly burst, some that are bursting. Very, very interesting. I can't help thinking that it might have been better as a mono. And I like the way that the bubbles sort of run diagonally through the image with the mud top left and bottom right. But for me, perhaps if you'd put some graduated sort of darkening in those top left, bottom right corners to accentuate the focus on the bubble sort of track through the middle, it may have improved it. And perhaps some different cropping as well, because we've got a few half bubbles on the edges, which kind of distracts, if you like. So I'm afraid we'll have to move on.
Passed on that one. Scarlet tiger moth.
Yeah, lovely tiger moth. I love these little creatures, and I haven't seen them for years. We used to get them in the garden when I was a kid quite often. I used to admire them then. Sadly, I haven't seen any in a long time, which is a shame. I'm not sure whether it's because we haven't got the right plants in our garden, but I don't know. It's very well composed. I like the squared off crop, and I like the diagonal direction of the bug in the image. But it is a shame that it's not quite sharp, especially where it's important in the sort of head and body area of the moth. And it would have been possibly better if the moth was facing towards us too, which is a shame, but the sharpness does let it down somewhat. So I'm going to have to move on, I'm afraid.
Okay, passed on that one. M for meerkat.
M for meerkat, and here he is, sitting on his log, having a look around. Yeah, what can I say about this one, really? Very well taken shot. Completely blank background, but it's still got some tone in there, so we can see that there is some, it's not just purely black, is what I'm trying to say, which is great. But because it's dark, we can see all those hairs and whiskers, even the eyelashes, etc., around the meerkat's head and snout area, which is fantastic. Maybe a little bit of the stump or branch bit that he's sitting on is slightly out of focus at the foreground, but that's not important. The subject's sharp where it needs to be. So yeah, I'll see this one again, please, Phil.
Okay. Marathon Mum.
Great story here. It's perfectly sharp as well. This lady's clearly running along, and the author's got the hand, the foot, perfectly crisp. So nice high shutter speed was used, I would imagine, here. And as I say, it tells a lovely story. Perhaps with that path, you can see the path leading through, but maybe seeing a little bit more of that environment would help the image. Maybe just backing out with a slightly wider angle may have helped. Some of the bits of vest are approaching blown out as well, sort of bottom right of her vest there. So although I like the story and it's very well taken, I will have to pass.
Okay. Marine travel.
Right, okay. Yeah, I love this composition. Really, really nice. And although the horizon's pretty much halfway in the frame, it doesn't matter for me because the sky is great. It's got some detail in there. And the placement of the cruise ship and then the paddle border is great. So really, really well composed. It's just a shame about the sunshine. The sunshine's sort of half the boat's in sunshine and half of it isn't, and then the paddle border's in shade as well. And I can't help thinking that if the author had taken a few more images, maybe they've got some more images with better light or more even light across the subjects. Because for me, they both should be in light, or maybe the ship in all shade and the paddle border in the light. I'm not sure, but it is a shame because it's a really, really nice image spoiled by that light. Just it's worth hanging around if you can to get the perfect light. Obviously look up at the sky and see what's going on. But no, it's a shame. It's a really nice image. It's just the lighting that lets it down. So I'll have to pass, I'm afraid.
Okay. Mallards.
Okay, nice pair of male mallards here, presumably in the winter time, looking at the dead vegetation. I love the water rippling here and the light. It's probably evening light. It's nice and warm. Got that nice sort of golden hour glow. It's a shame the mallard at the rear isn't looking in exactly the same direction as the one at the front. It just loses a little bit of that repeat symmetry between the pair. Although the depth of field between the two is great because they're both sharp. Although there's still some blur in the background, both of the subjects are sharp, which is fantastic. I may be wrong, but for me, I think there's been a little bit of cloning done over on the left-hand side because there seems to be a little bit of repetition in some of the ripples. So if I am correct, then do take care with cloning to avoid repetition of patterns. If I'm incorrect, then I apologise. But even so, there are sadly better images here, so we'll have to pass.
Okay. Chesterton Mill.
Chesterton Windmill, yes, lovely location. Often photographed by many of us, myself included. And because of that, you need a different angle to take. And here is a good example with the oilseed rape field, nicely in bloom, and the pathways clear, showing a nice leader from the photographer's location up to the mill itself. So that gives it an extra dimension. For me, I think it needs a little bit of a brighten up. Yellows are notoriously difficult, I think, to photograph. I know I struggle with them myself. And these look a little bit dark for oilseed rape. In fact, the whole image is just a wee bit dark. It could maybe be lifted up. The sky is nice and dramatic. And maybe a higher point of view to see a little bit more of the foot of the windmill, maybe walk up the hill a wee bit more, find a little bit of a vantage point. And also, I think because a narrow aperture has been used to get good depth of field again, because the foreground's sharp and the windmill's lovely and sharp. It's a very well taken image, but because of the narrow aperture, you can see rust spots on the sensor up in the cloud, just on the edge of the dark area there. So do be careful when using narrow apertures. If you have got dirt on your sensor, you need to go and clone it out afterwards. But ideally get your sensor cleaned. But it's a nicely taken image, but again, there are better ones. So we'll have to pass on that one, Phil.
Okay. There's a mermaid at the door.
Now I've seen things like this in the past. Whilst on holiday in Madeira and Funchal, there's a whole street of decorated doors. So this may be there, maybe somewhere completely different. But it's something I've seen in the past, and this is very interesting. And I hope, I can't see to be sure, but I hope that metallic looking bar in the seat of the swing is the letterbox. If it isn't, it should be. Because that would be a really good touch by the person who's decorated the door. I like the symmetry in the author's photograph. I like the light across the doorway. It just gives us that little angle at the bottom, which just tells us where the sun is, and we've got a little bit of an angle, a little bit of a shadow at the top too. I would have liked to see more of the door frame or the lintel of the doorway at the top of the image, so perhaps it's been cropped a wee bit tight because we've got space at the bottom of the door but not at the top. And again, it's the old adage of being a photograph of somebody else's art, if you like. So it's difficult to make something of that. Maybe it needs something in the doorway, a cat, or something that links to the mermaid. in the doorway to just give it that extra dimension, if you like. So again, we'll have to move on. Phil, thank you.
Okay. And the final one in this series, M&Ms.
Okay, yeah, I like this image a lot. It's quite simple, really, if you think about what it is, but it fits the theme perfectly. We've got colours in there. We've got RGB at the front, which as we're a photographic society, RGB is like a sort of buzz phrase within photography, if you like, and displays, that kind of thing. I like the depth of field. I like the white background. Obviously, the M's are there. It really is nice. At first, I thought maybe the suites could have been lined up in more of a symmetrical pattern, sort of 3, 2, 1 or something, or staggered in some kind of order. But then if you put some order into it, it would then have to be perfect to be in an order, and then it could fall over because of that. So I think the randomness almost helps it in that regard. If you think back to those arches picture, I like the structure and symmetry there, but then I also like the randomness here too, which is great. So yeah, I'll hold this one back, please, Phil.
So we've held back 5 images. Would you like to see them all again, or just in the light box?
Stick them all up together, please, Phil.
Okay.
Is that a light box?
That's it.
Okay, all right, okay. So I'll do a commended and a highly commended and then a 3, 2, 1, yeah?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okie dokie. Right, okay, I'll commend the Mesembryanthemum, please. And with just a little bit more work on that, that could have been a top image. Just that vignette and a little bit of detail in the center. Highly commend the mountain pass, please. Again, just perhaps some tonal improvements, especially in the upper right area, sort of around the mountain peak. Third place, I'll put the meerkat. I can't really fault the meerkat. It's just that I feel the other 2 remaining fit the theme of M better. Second place, M squared. And first place, obviously, the M&Ms.
That's great. Very good. I'll just run through the results. Not in the light box. So commended was My Mesembryan, My Flower by Michael Prince. Highly commended was Mountain Pass by Super Main. In third place, M for Meerkat by Dave Venables. In second place, M Squared by Mick O'Malley. And the winner was M&M's by Tim Hutchin. Congratulations, Tim. Okay, so welcome to our third and final category, the colour red. We've got 32, sorry, we've got 23 images for you to judge, Jane. And it's going to be judged by our very own Jane Roby. So what we'll do is I'll show you a quick 2-second preview of all of the images first, and then I'll hand over to Jane for her appraisal of them. So let's just do a quick run through it. Okay, that's the final one. So if I just run through now and hand over to Jane to praise our images. So let's just run through and show them on screen. So the first image is Keep Out. Over to you, Jane.
Hello, everybody. We're starting with an image that she's definitely shown us red and definitely telling us to keep out. The first thought I had on this image is that we're looking at a field of sunflowers, and that it would be nice if it'd been taken at a time of day when the sunflowers were actually facing us, which I think would have added a little more to the image. I think there's not a lot more to say about that one.
Okay, you going to pass on that one?
Pass on that one.
Okay. The next image is the girl in the red dress.
Yep, it's a redhead in a red dress. A little bit of motion blur on the right arm there. Got a line leading in diagonally with the left arm. Quite a lot of these sort of posed photographs, I tend to look at them and think, wouldn't it be nice if she just looked a little bit happier about having a photograph taken? But in general, it's a nice clear image. I like the fact you've got the mono background, which really shows up the model and the red dress. We'll pass on that one.
Okay. The lady in red.
This has to be one that I would have expected to see in a competition titled Red. Very nice red ladybird. Again, it's a mono background. It's actually not very sharp, and for that reason, I'm going to pass.
Okay, got that one. This is simply entitled Red.
Yeah, this is obviously a fiesta of some sort. I don't know whether it's Spain or Italy or where it is. Pretty impressive big flag there that this guy is holding. You've got this sort of conflict of people in the background heading one way and the man holding flag going back into the picture in the other way. I think I would have lost the head on the edge of the picture there, which I think spoils it a little bit, but nice, sharp, bright image. I think we have some stronger ones today though, so we'll pass.
Okay, pass on that one. Shuttleworth Collection biplane.
Yeah, this is a lovely image. It's nice and clear and sharp all the way through the image. The fact that the plane is heading away from us gives you the line that you get the feeling that it's about to take off. It's got that angle as well that's taking your eye up towards the sky and very much giving you this image that it is about to fly. Nice deep red in there. I'll keep that one back.
Okay, I'll hold that one back. Red berries.
Yeah, it's called red berries. It's cuckoo pint is the name I know it by, although I know there are several other names for it. It's set off one side to one side of the picture, but it's actually leaning to the left away from the centre of the picture. I think the camera angle would have been better if it had been leaning towards the centre. There are obviously quite mature berries there, looking like they're going over a little bit. It's not doing a great deal for me. I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. Uluru in Evening Light.
Yeah, Uluru. Uluru. I've been there, I've seen that image. I think the area to the right there looks very much like a face. It's a shame it's just slightly chopped off on the edge, but it is looking back into the picture. It's an incredible place, and when you get the right light, which I think you've got in this picture, it really does shine. It's the colours are amazing. I don't really like the fact that we've got this triangle of sky at the top right hand. I think that being a light patch on the edge takes your eye away from the detail. It's such a big rock. I think it would have looked nicer if you'd photographed in a way that showed just the rock and didn't show the skyline. So I'll pass.
Okay, pass on that one.
Yeah, it's a
Red lips.
It's a great image. It's a really sharp, very, very clear image. Very attractive young lady. The red of the lipstick is stunning. It really takes your eye. And it tells the story as she's looking into the mirror. In fact, I'm actually looking in her eyes and wondering if she's looking in the mirror or if she's just posing for the camera. But it's a beautiful picture. It's very clear and sharp. And I'll hold that one back.
Okay, hold back. This is called Post-War Reds.
Yeah, it's a lovely take on the idea of red, not just in the colour, but also in the politics as well. We've obviously got, is it Castro?
Yep.
I think, is that Stalin? Mao Zedong and Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Lovely idea, very, very different. Very nicely photographed. A very good composition rather than photograph. I think that Castro is just a little bit off the edge of the picture. I think he's sort of slightly out of balance with the others in that he's touching the edge of the picture, but I'll hold that one back.
That's held back. Amaryllis.
Yeah, this is a stunning picture. It's somebody's been out with the water spray. You see the little droplets of water on the petals, but it's beautifully sharp, beautifully positioned in the frame. I like the diagonal from the bottom left taking your eye towards the centre of the bloom. And I also like the background, and I like the very delicate little red line around the edge. It's probably only about 2 pixels of red around the edge, which just helps to bring the colour all together. I'll keep that one back.
Okay, hold that one back. May I have the red one?
There's certainly plenty to choose from there. There's plenty of different colours going on there. So I think your eye tends to dart around a little through all the different colours, although the red is in quite a nice striking position. I think we have stronger images, so I won't be holding that one back.
Okay, we'll pass on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Shot at Dawn.
Yeah, I think poppies were inevitable when the theme was the colour red. This is a really interesting picture. It took me a while to notice the ghostly images superimposed in the background, and that makes it really quite a powerful picture, particularly the fact that there's a face just here turning back looking towards the poppies. I think it's very, very well done. The nearest post is the only one that's pinned sharp. But altogether, I think the composition is quite moving and very interesting image. I'll be keeping that one back.
Okay, I'll hold that back. This is Viaduct Brick Repairs.
This is an image we've seen recently with a different colour pattern to it. I think it's an absolutely cracking image. I love the repetition in it. It's obviously been edited to make the reds stand out. I think the original had more colours in it. It's a very interesting picture, and one that you can look at for quite a while to start seeing more and more things of interest in there. And I'll keep that one back.
Okay, we'll hold that back. Red Valerian by the Sea.
Yeah, this has been well photographed for the diagonals leading the eye into the picture and then picking up on the red hull of the boat, which is out of focus in the background, but obviously very striking because of the colour. I don't think it's as strong as some of the images we've got, but it's been very well photographed. So I'll pass on that one.
Okay, pass on that. Ladybird on Acer.
Yeah, this is our second ladybird. We all know that ladybirds are red, but this one actually looks quite orange. It's not as sharp as I would like to see it. I think the face of the ladybird is reasonably sharp, but the background is pretty much, the rest of the ladybird is thrown out. I would have liked to see it sharper as it's the main subject of the picture. I do like the tones in it and the fact that it is offset to one side, but I'll pass on that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that. Lifesavers.
Yeah. This is a lovely picture. It's leading your eye in again on the diagonal for the red door, the red roof, the red boys out in the sea. I like the fact that you're not seeing the sky, so there's no distraction of a lighter area to take your eye away from the theme of the picture. Very nice and sharp where it needs to be. An interesting composition, and I'll hold that one back.
Okay, that's held back. The red six-spotted burnet moth.
Yeah, looks a little bit like an alien from another planet, doesn't it? It's quite a strange looking face. Again, not really as sharp as I would like it to be. You're only seeing a very small amount of red on the wings there. I think the pink of the flower is rather dominating more than the subjects of the colour red. I also find this line, diagonal line across on the right distracting, and the upright line to the left. I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay. Red tackle.
Yeah. Is it a rugby match? Yes. I'm not sure whether this is a sloping picture or if the picture is a little bit out of level. It's still an interesting composition. I like the fact that the figures on either side are sort of looking in towards the ball. It's a shame that the arm of the man in the middle is covering the face of the chap who's actually got the ball. But you've got some good facial expressions there, plenty of red. I'll hold that one back.
Okay, it's held back. Red car.
Yeah. It's a very bold image, and there's some wonderful geometric shapes. Quite a contrast between the modern and the old. It looks as though the modern buildings are pretty much touching the old buildings, but I think that may be shortening from the camera. What I am finding a bit distracting is in the top left-hand corner, you have a red triangle, and I'm finding my eyes being drawn towards that away from the car. An interesting picture, but I'm going to pass.
Okay, got that one. A step back in time.
I think this was another picture that to some extent would be inevitable in where the subject is red. We've got the phone box and the post box here together. Very lovely positioning. I think they must have just had a new door on the phone box, or they've just had it painted, because it is very much brighter and newer looking than the rest of the phone box. A nice image, but not as strong as some of the others. Okay.
Red comb.
Yeah, I think it's another lovely image. Your eye is very, very much drawn to the red of the cockerel's face. The feathers are beautifully clear and sharp, and it's a fantastic background. I would just like to have seen a little more space on the left and a little less on the right, so that the cockerel was looking into a little bit more space. As it is, the area that your eye is drawn to is very much offset to the left and then going out of the picture. I think I would have preferred to just chop a bit more off the right, seeing a little less of the bird and concentrate a bit more on the face. But it's a beautifully sharp image, very, very clear, very pretty bird. I'll keep that one back.
Okay, that's held back. Lonely red poppies.
Yeah, more of the inevitable poppies. Quite an interesting tangle there of other different flowers in the background. The poppies are very bright and sharp. I think the whole picture is a little bit dark, and perhaps lightening it up a touch would have improved it. You've got a vignette, I think, around the edge there, which helps to pull the eye into the centre. But you've just seen the poppies sideways on. You're not really, I think, seeing perhaps a slightly higher angle might have made a more interesting picture. I'm going to pass with that one.
Okay, we'll pass on that. And the final image in this series, messing about in the water.
The child on the left, we're mostly seeing a back view. The one on the right, I think you've got a lovely angle there, but I'm not actually seeing any red. I'm just seeing pink and orange. So I think that really doesn't meet the criteria for the competition. Although I think the child itself, it's a nice picture of that particular child. So I'll pass on that one.
Okay, pass on that. So that's the end of our colour red, and you held back 9 images. So I can show you them all on one screen as thumbnails in the light box, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And then if you wish to drop any of those, we can do that. We can remove them, or we can start to award.
Right. That's all right. I've got I'm showing my own, I'm just going to change my screen if you'll just bear with me. Sorry, that's it. I've got your pictures open on the right-hand side there, and they're covering one of the images. I was just thinking, where's it gone? Okay, so I'm going to drop the viaduct.
So we'll drop that one.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop the communist grouping, post-war Reds.
Okay, remove that.
And I'm going to drop red tackle. And so you just want one commended, one highly commended, and yeah, I'm going to drop. Can I have 2 commended?
Yes, yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to give commended to lifesavers, and I'm going to give commended to red comb. The Shuttleworth collection is highly commended. Shot at Dawn is 3rd. Red Lips 2nd. And the Amaryllis is 1st.
Okay, I shall just run through the results. I need the top 5. That's the 5 places. And then I can just run through, not in the light box, but the winning shots were commended.
Yeah.
That's Lifesavers by favourite.
Very nice, I like that. Mm.
Commended also was Red Comb by Yolanta.
Yeah.
Highly commended was the Shuttleworth Collection biplane, which was by Patrick Reynolds.
Mm. Oh.
In 3rd place, Shot at Dawn by Super Main. In 2nd place was Red Lips by Dave Ward.
All right. Yeah.
And how very embarrassing, 1st was Amaryllis by that man, Phil Morehouse.
That's a stunning picture.
Thanks very much, Jane. Can you judge again for us?
Possibly. That's a stunning picture. I think that's as good as a flower image is ever going to get. That's beautiful. I like that very much.
Oh, thanks very much, Jane, and thanks for an excellent job judging. That was really very perceptive comments. Thank you very much.
Obviously a popular decision.
So finally, I'd like to thank all 3 of our judges. I think you'll agree they've made excellent choices and provided honest and constructive feedback. In fact, they've all spent a lot of time considering your images. With the limitations of viewing the images in this way through Zoom, I'd had to send all of the original images to them, anonymously of course, so that they could view them on their own monitors in the comfort of their own homes. So they were able to have a look at them before the judging on Zoom. maybe this is something we could repeat if in the new year we're not able to get together and show prints for a little while yet. Maybe this is another type of competition we could introduce. I look forward to seeing you all soon.